In late 2016, I was invited to the Accident Man set and got to check out some of the fight scene work. It looked amazing then, and I'm happy to report that it has become probably one of the best DTV action films I've seen in a long time. But as I thought you're probably pretty sick of hearing me talk about action films now, I thought I'd get someone else on instead. So, Mr. Scott Adkins, how did making this film differ from other experiences you've had?
What was interesting about this film, and as a producer and also as a writer, I know what it takes to get the time to make a good fight sequence. We choreograph the dance between the stunt performers and the camera operator, and then we say, okay, we're ready to try and take? And we go, and we don't stop until we get it. Maybe we think we could have done it a little bit better, but we're happy to move on. What you don't want to do is get back to the editing room and say, okay, let's try and see if we've got a fight here, or have we messed it up, you know what I mean? That's the best way to do it. I'll be honest, because of the limitations of making an independent film on a budget, we don't have the luxury of all being in the same space to create the choreography. One of the reasons I love working with Tim Man is because he will get the lion's share of it prevised in Sweden with some of his own team before he even touches down wherever we're shooting the film. Now, that's not the ideal way to do it. I would prefer to be with him, but this is just all part and parcel of making a low-budget film. The Mick and Mac fight was the first one that Tim prevised. So he did that in Sweden with some of his boys. He sent me the previs. I look at it and I say, okay, maybe do this or maybe do that and change this here. And obviously we had an initial conversation about how the fight should be. There's a week where we might have the actors available to rehearse, sometimes not. And we actually ended up with 4 days for the Mick and Mac fight. One of those days, we just did the dialogue, and Jesse was there with us for that.
And the rest was second unit, right? I remember when I was on set thinking how relaxed everything seemed.
It was glorious, to be honest, to not feel the pressure of trying to get everything done. We actually had more time than we needed. We had lights shooting in from the top, which was very important because we want to be able to shoot 360 with the camera. We don't want to have lights stopping us from shooting certain directions.
Of course, location must have such an effect on a sequence.
You can be in the gym, choreographing the fights, prevising it all, but until you get to the location, you don't really know what angles you have. Talking about the Jane the Ripper fight, for instance, it was all prevised. But when we got to the location, because we were shooting in the winter, we had to blast a load of light in through the doors. So it looked like daylight. That really limited a lot of the angles that we could use for the fight.
So did you end up having to do anything on set to compensate for that?
You'll find yourself having to add a little piece of choreography here and there. Maybe I'm backing Amy up to the wall and we need to turn around and go the other way in order to do the rest of the choreography because we've ran out of room because we didn't know we were going to be using this space. It's difficult, man. We really worked hard on this film.
Another of my favourite fights was you versus the biker. Talk more about that.
Tim Man is performing in this fight sequence as well as choreographing it, so he would have to put the helmet on. We would do the take and then take the helmet off and run behind the monitor and we would discuss whether we had it or not. We actually left this fight sequence till the very last day of the schedule. Reason being, the stunt that I do when I run up, I kick the guy off the bike. Everybody was worried I was going to hurt myself doing that. It was about 5:30 in the morning. I'd just done the whole fight scene with Tim. Honestly, I didn't have a lot of spring left in my step. When they turned up with the bike as well, it was like, Jesus, those handlebars are quite high. And I've got to jump over the handlebars first and then kick the guy.
You survived, though.
It was absolutely fine, landed on my feet.
I love the little references there, you know, the Game of Death helmet and the kick.
Wheels on meals, mate. Complete rip-off.
Were there any other little homages I may have missed?
I paid homage to Richard Norton. The fight that he has with Sammo Hung, every time he kicks him, he looks at him and he goes, painful? And I completely ripped him off.
Now that looked very painful.
Yeah, I got it from Richard. And thanks, Richard.
Don't worry, mate. I don't want to know anything.
Can you talk about fighting styles on screen? We see so many different these days. Is there a discipline you feel works best?
It's fighting for the screen. It's fighting for the camera. We know how to sell it. Whether they've come up through Salat, Taekwondo, Aikido, Jiu-Jitsu, whatever. These guys are good stunt performers, screen fighters, and that's what they're good at, and that's what we're seeing.
What is that anyway? Southern style?
In terms of filming action, you work a lot with Jesse Johnson. What is it for you that makes this collaboration work so well?
I love working with Jesse because he works well under pressure. He knows how to get it done. And of course, he's come up through the stunt world. When the weapons come out, the guns and all that stuff, that's where he really, really shines. You can see in Savage Dog, he loves that stuff. But when it comes to the fights, he knows that me and Tim, we're some of the best at it. He's very happy to let us do what we do. It's a collaboration. So you want to surround yourself with professionals that are good at their job. And that's the way we're able to make this film in 24 days.
It's working well. Should we expect anything else from Mike Fallon, the Accident Man?
I really want to do a sequel. I love this guy. I just hope that people go out there and support the film so that we can make a sequel and maybe some more. I think he's a great character and there's a lot more to show of him.
Get out.
That was a pretty good punch.
Alright, thanks Scott. And please, do go out and rent or buy the film if you're interested. It's released today in the UK and available all over the world. It is DTV, but it's great DTV.
How the bloody hell do I make this look like an accident?